really was, an opportunity of a lifetime.
In tonight's special assignment, Destination Space Crew Ready. One man has seen it all, launch after launch over the past 5 decades. Spectrum News 13's Julie Gorgata takes a look at why the upcoming launch is still so invigorating.
These are older pictures.
With each flip of the page,
See that little me?
this is you.
Yeah, me.
Memories for Jim Ogle come alive. From John Glenn's first launch in 1962, Ogle, then a young engineer.
Godspeed, John Glenn.
The shouting and screaming and the go baby go, because our first human on this rocket.
1, 0.
To the view from the firing room.
We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Blast off of Apollo 11.
Holy mackerel, the pride of our nation. This allowed me to be in the firing room for the launch. Firing room 1, where we launched it from.
Ogle's company built the third stage vehicle.
We tested every single system on that, every transistor.
It's something we talked about months ago at Kennedy Space Center, where Ogle's a volunteer.
We had already been developing these engines in the 50s.
Answering questions. That is, until the pandemic halted everything. Now Ogle spends more time at his Merritt Island home dreaming of the SpaceX launch to come.
This is a very important mission after 9 years of depending on the Russians to now get back to the American space program. It's on par with the John Glenn launch, because the John Glenn launch was our first human in space, American human.
For Ogle, the launch symbolizes the arc of continuity. Spans a 51-year career and his lifelong love of space.
I'm going to watch it probably from my front yard, like a lot of people here.
In Brevard County, Julie Gorgata, Spectrum News 13.
Okay, welcome back to our live in-depth team coverage of Destination Space Crew Ready here on Spectrum News 13, and we're coming up on the 1-hour mark ahead of the big launch. A lot of patriotism on the Space Coast this afternoon. Spectrum News 13's Julie Gorgata joining us now from the Space Coast with her own vantage point of what's going to be hopefully happening in the next hour and 8 minutes or so. And Julie, what's going on out where you are?
Yeah, and Eric, what a wild afternoon it's been, at least weather-wise for us. We've seen very strong storms, oftentimes even scary with lightning and thunder, but the views of the VAB still in the background, kind of peeking through those storms. Launches often evoking this strong sense of hope, optimism, patriotism, and often during the country's most challenging times.
In order to understand where we're going,
this renaissance of commercial space flight,
we have to look back. After all, American exceptionalism shines in moments of adversity, like when the U.S. was locked in a Cold War with the Soviet Union.
President Eisenhower reassures the nation that Russia's success with the first satellite does not indicate a serious lag in American rocket research.
Russia's Sputnik launch was the catalyst.
Which frightened Americans. Because every 90 minutes, a Russian satellite passed overhead.
Florida Institute of Technology's Robert Taylor says it propelled the space race and galvanized Americans for a single cause.
Us versus the Russians. And in this race, if you come in second, you don't get a silver medal.
At Cape Canaveral, Florida, the Army's Jupiter C rocket is ready for America's second attempt to launch a space satellite.
In 1961, President Kennedy challenging NASA to aim for the moon.
Time for a great new American enterprise.
And rallying fellow Americans in 1962.
We choose to go to the moon.
President Kennedy, who of course was killed in 1963, and this became a way to honor his memory.
When that speech was made, that was really the beginning of the greatest event that ever happened.
NASA volunteer and lifelong engineer Jim Ogle remembers the pride and the view from the firing room.
There's you. There I am right there.
Blast off of Apollo 11. The moon landing ending the era on a high note.
Now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface.
Including for astronaut Buzz Aldrin's son, Andrew.
Did a ticker tape parade in New York in the morning, did a ticker tape parade in Chicago, I guess, in the afternoon, and then flew to LA.
The next era would be defined in the 1980s with launch after launch of the space shuttle.
This was an incredible vehicle that was going to basically start the next era of space exploration and science.
NASA's Daryl Nail says it captivated America's imagination as astronauts built the International Space Station and conducted science experiments 250 miles above the Earth.
There were folks who said at the time, America's back, the space program is back.
The vehicle has exploded.
Tragedies brought Americans together.
Catastrophic system failure on the shuttle.
Liftoff, the final liftoff of Atlantis.
Until STS-135,
America will continue the dream.
Marked the end of that era. The shuttle retired, the Cape grew quiet, and the boom of launches became a distant memory.
As Falcon and Dragon take flight to the International Space Station.
But a new chapter of space exploration would serve for Americans as a modern-day rally cry.
We want to be the place to come to launch to space.
NASA's Tom Angler says the agency is reaching for the moon again and even Mars. And to get there, it takes partnership. Kennedy Space Center as the platform and commercial companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Boeing as innovators.
It's hard to describe how exciting it is right now.
Even in the midst of a pandemic, American optimism never waning.
And it's really a gutsy call to finally get this first mission off our soil with American astronauts.
At the Space Coast in Brevard County.
For the nation, it's an exciting time and will only continue to get better.
Julie Gargata, Spectrum News 13.